So join us. See what shenanigans we get into next. Who knows, maybe somewhere along the way, you'll find your favorite winemaker. Oh my goodness, those pre-date burgers smell good. And trust me, nothing would have made us happier than crushing more of that zippy albarino with Jessica at Bodega. But harvest waits for nobody. So we're on the move to Buellton to meet up with John and Brandon of Dragonette Cellars. Dragonette has built a reputation for some of Santa Barbara County's most precise site-driven wines. No arm twisting needed for these wines. Yummy! John and Brandon aren't the cozy cafe types, especially this time of year. Their day starts in the dirt and they invited us to tag along. All right, so it'll just be a minute while we get the oil changed. Get a little bumper work done. Yeah. All good.
Housekeeping.
Housekeeping.
Oh,
there we go.
Lizard.
What's up,
Hey guys.
Welcome,
Hello.
Welcome to our chateau.
I went to the chateau.
Oh, I
Good
see you.
to see you.
Good to see you.
I'm gonna get my car fixed for a minute.
That's the
It's
place.
a 2-for-1 here. You can do a wine tasting and get an oil change at the same time.
That's right.
All right, so we're in the automotive center. There's got to be a story there.
I guess we like garages.
It is.
We started in my garage in Hermosa Beach 22 years ago.
In Hermosa, no way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. First barrel of wine in Hermosa. But then we decided we better go pro with this. So we moved up to the valley and got ourselves a bigger garage.
Unlikely place for the start of a winery. But we met, so we came from completely different backgrounds, both completely became obsessed with wine, and we ended up working at the same wine shop for a time. So we were working at a really great wine shop in LA, got to work together for a few years, tasting just this kind of who's who of the great wines of the world. I mean, we were completely spoiled in those days.
Oh my God. Yeah. So, but after having tasted all the great wines of the world, we thought we should try to make some of our own.
Why Santa Barbara?
Santa Barbara, you know, you've probably heard the story about the transverse mountain ranges and the diverse climates across the valley, from cool Chardonnay and Pinot area in Lompoc all the way out to the warmer areas in Happy Canyon. Okay. So we can grow all these amazing grapes in 25 miles from each other.
And coming to Santa Barbara, it's one of the few places in the world where you can grow, world-class, like John said, world-class Pinot Noir and Chardonnay in one location. 10 miles over, you start to switch into this Syrah zone that just becomes phenomenal. And then as you kind of keep going at the further east end of the valley, there's these perfect spots for Bordeaux varieties. Our journey has been to work with some of the established vineyards, while at the same point in time going out and looking for undiscovered places, and some places kind of chasing soil types or little microclimates.
So we're in the small town of Buellton. Why here?
We used to have roommates, and to share a location is difficult in housing and life.
We've heard that story before.
and in wineries too. And so talked to the director of the Santa Barbara Vintners and said, do you know any places that are available? And he said, you should check with this guy. And so we came, looked at it, and we signed immediately. It's not easy to find space like this.
Yeah.
But this is really a unicorn. It's right in the middle of everything. So halfway, 15 miles to Happy Canyon, 10 to 15 miles to Santa Rita Hills, Stoltman's, 5 miles up the road over here.
Okay.
So it's sort of in the middle of everything.
Yeah, so in a way, it's like this is the hub, and then there's spokes on the wheel that go out to the different vineyards.
Oh, well, that's
and so
efficient.
that's kind of part of what we like to do, is spend a lot of time in the vineyards. So this gives us access to easily, within 20 minutes each direction, buzz out to each of the different vineyard sources that we work with. And then come harvest time, we're able to pick either at night or early in the morning, get that fruit over here nice and early in the morning when it's still nice and cool and fresh, and start processing.
So harvest time, I guess the vineyards are online, ready to go. Picking soon, happening already. How are we looking there? And should we go check out some vineyards?
Yes and yes. So we're in the midst right now. So we're finished picking all of our Sauvignon Blanc, which is typical. We usually start kind of the eastern end of the valley is a little warmer. Sauvignon Blanc is a little earlier ripening, so that typically is the first thing we focus on. Okay. Then we dig into Pinot Noir, and right now we're right in the mix of it. We've got a little under half of our Pinot Noir in, so we should go check on some of those grapes.
I just want to let you know, Ricky was inviting himself to a vineyard.
You're welcome,
no
Ricky, to come with us.
Yes.
We were on our way there anyway.
Not too many regions, I think, in California that allow you to have a little bit of a Burgundian experience up front, a Rhone experience in the middle, and then a Bordeaux experience in the backside. That's pretty incredible to work with.
It is.
I didn't even think about
Very
it that way,
well
but
said.
you're right, yeah.
Yeah, we're really fortunate that way. And I mean, honestly, like when we first came on board, I mean, we've been really fortunate because Santa Barbara had this wave of pioneers, and for the most part, most of them are actually still with us and still sharing information and intel. And so, you know, John was able to apprentice with Kathy Joseph, who owned Fiddlestix Vineyard at the time. This winery space was actually used by some of the absolute legends in our valley. Wow. So Sanford did their production here for years and years.
No way.
So a couple decades here. At the same point in time, again, that collaborative spirit was happening. While Sanford was here, Bob Lindquist of Coupé produced a couple vintages here. Jim Clendenin, rest in peace. They've made some of his Vita Nova wines here. So there's been this very interesting connection of community that continues to this day. We've helped incubate a couple people. And if we need to borrow a tank or somebody needs to borrow a tank, we can take the forklift and wheel right down the road and trade tanks.
Or a tire.
So it looks like this automotive spot, but there's a lot of serious wine history here.
All the people have come through here and are still down the street making wine too. So down the street, we've got a bunch of other wineries. We used to call this the Wine Ghetto West, East.
I love it.
Wine Ghetto East. But there's a bunch of, I think there's 22 wineries if you count everybody.
If you look around the blocks around here, it's pretty amazing.
Okay.
A couple of things Santa Barbara County is and isn't. Santa Barbara County is full of urban wineries making a bunch of ridiculous juice. I'm talking Michelin-Level wine list bottles, y'all. And the irony is definitely not lost on me imagining these wines coming to life next to body shops. Santa Barbara County isn't built on big tanks, big brands, and big volume. That's just not the vibe here. Which means that if you're hunting these wines at the grocery store, yeah, good luck with that. That's why having a local wine shop is essential.
So this time of the year, it's harvest time. So we're getting really, really, really close to picking the grapes and harvesting in this block. So we're looking at the canes here, and you can see that the canes have become woody. It's called lignification. That happened a little earlier in the season. So that indicates a physiological maturity. And then the other ways that we can check the physiological maturity is to actually just take the grapes, squish them up a little bit, take a look at the seeds. So you can see that the seeds here, we have this, it's kind of turning nice and brown. And then the skins themselves are starting to give a little juice. See how that gets darker and darker as it touches? So that's a couple of the things that physiologically show us that this is getting right into that window that's going to be the ideal time to harvest.
So you're checking for physiological maturity and all of that good stuff. So how many steps are you getting a day? It's got to be a lot of
We get our
walking.
steps, yeah. And then the other things that we'll look at, you'll kind of look and see where the vine is in terms of its life cycle. We like to see the little bit of color that's kind of yellowing the leaves. That's showing that the vine has kind of done its thing. It's really working hard on ripening fruit at this point, and it's towards the end of its lifespan. We'll then take samples. So we'll kind of walk down, take a representative sample, take these back to the winery, smash it up, let it sit for a little while, then we'll strain it off and taste that juice. How is the fruit in relation to the acid, in relation to the tannins? But at the end of the day, it's all about the flavor.
If we were to do, percentage-wise, is it 50%, science and numbers and 50% taste, or is it? If you
I
were
would
to
say more like 80% taste and
20% science.
Yeah, I mean, there's science, but these things happen. A lot of it happens by itself. So the real key, I think, and we think, is knowing the vineyards and what kind of ripeness you have. If this one gets a little bit riper than the other ones, that could be all right because some of those were picked a little earlier. So that kind of alchemy is, I think, a little bit more the way we see it, I think, than.
Which is a lot more farm to table than it is molecular gastronomy.
Molecular gastronomy. I am making that shirt.
There's a time and a place for all kinds of wines. We're not throwing shade, but I mean, again, in our thing, it's you start with really great raw materials, and then in the winery, that part of the process becomes a lot easier because you'll be able to actually be much more hands-off. But we're looking for things like you can see on this cluster, there's actually some lignification going right into that stem. Yeah. Munch the stem just as much as we're tasting the berries. And we'll do this during harvest as well to decide whether we're going to fully destem, whether we're going to incorporate some of that as stem inclusion.
So there's going to be a decision coming up soon whether you're going to do that whole cluster or whether you're going to get that stem out of there.
Oftentimes,
Stay
as
tuned.
we're destemming.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, 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 dun.
So are there palate differences? Are there stylistic differences where one of you says, no, we should do more of this, and one of you says, we're not doing that?
That's a good question, man.
That's a great question. We've been answering that question for 20.
Because you and your brother?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
You say that?
we have my brother involved in this too, so we have that many layers of that. But for 20 some years now, we've been asked that question, and I don't know, maybe it's because we started at the same place or whatever, but I feel like our palates are pretty calibrated together.
Yeah, and I think there's multiple perspectives. So when we're deciding to do the whole cluster at the winery, we'll all smell the stems, taste the stems, make that decision. Fast forward to the end of the process when we're looking at blending of what goes into a bottle, what's going to be a single vineyard wine, what's going to be an appellation wine, what's going to be our black label. It's literally the three of us, so myself, John, and his brother Steve, and then our cellar master Brian, sitting around a table tasting and just comparing notes.
Right.
But to John's point, rarely is it something that comes to loggerheads. It's typically something where, oh, this is clearly black label.
Right.
This is so singular, we got to honor that with a single vineyard bottling.
Right.
And again, that's where the history, I think, comes into play, where we met tasting wines together. Our palates are fairly similar. His brother Steve had a slightly different perspective, but I think that actually makes the wines even better in the sense that you're actually looking at it from multiple angles to kind of create the best wine that we can.
What's the thing now that makes Dragonette who Dragonette is?
A little more than 20 years ago when we had a couple of vineyards. And then we decided, well, we really like doing this. And it seems like it's working pretty well. We're going to grow. And we grew pretty much until about 2018 was it, something like that? Perfect amount of wine to basically sell mostly direct. And so we look for, if there's a really great property that comes online, we might look for some more vineyards, but we're really sort of where we like to be.
So you went from, what'd you say, 1 or 2 vineyards to how many now?
This year is 16 or 17.
16 or
which
17.
sounds like a lot, but again, that diversity of Santa Barbara is what we want to represent. And so we came here in search of these really brilliant vineyards. And so a lot of what we've done is basically just sort of grow very slowly, chasing these sites that have tremendous quality. And the wine business is such that in order to scale up dramatically, we would have to completely change the concept. If we wanted to make double or triple our production, we would then be selling more wine at distribution than we would direct. And more importantly, we love being in the vineyards. We love being at the winery. And at that scale, you have to kind of become more of a general manager and a traveling salesperson. And we'd rather be here out in the vineyards.
Could jeopardize your overall quality too if all of a sudden you're going to make that much more.
That's true as well. You look at the first growths in Bordeaux, and they do make a pretty good amount of wine, and they do that really well. But it's not just 3 guys in a garage at that point.
3 guys in a garage. I love it. So how much diatomaceous earth is out here? I was just looking on the ground scanning.
So most of the soil at this vineyard is going to be a clay loam soil
Yeah.
with little bits of chert and diatomaceous earth. And so it's easier to find the chert that has those layers. It's called banded chert. So you can kind of see the layers. And this is like glass. It's actually the same sort of thing that Chumash would make arrowheads out of.
Dude, break that. Come on, wimpy fingers.
There is zero chance I could break this.
Yeah, you're not going to break that without a tool. And then there's little pieces of these sort of things that verge more like shale or diatomaceous.
Yeah. So just hard, compacted kind of chalk, or
It's actually silica though. So
Silica.
yeah, imagine it being like glass. I mean, this is pretty fascinating in the ancient oceans out here.
You're throwing things at me. You are throwing things at me. Dude, you're great.
Brothers.
Back at you. Back at you. So I noticed in Santa Barbara County, there's just not that many huge brands. And what's the story? Why is it like that?
We have a lot of things in Santa Barbara that sort of limit the size of wineries. We have a winery ordinance. One of the reasons we end up in the garage is because, there's a lot of places for small people to buy fruit and then make the wine themselves, but not on an estate property. It's one of the things we love about Santa Barbara is how many small artisanal winemakers there are and how much incredibly great quality wine is being made by these small producers. Maybe the rest of the world doesn't know about it as easily because we don't have the marketing budgets and that the big corporate guys do.
And I found it very interesting on the drive out here. We are driving a long way on just nothing but vineyard roads. Not a single tasting room.
The county has been very careful in terms of trying to limit that, for better or for worse. I mean, that's actually been one of the things that sort of slowed down the wine industry down here. But it has preserved this untouched beauty of agriculture. By the winery ordinance, if we were able to find that kind of happy little 10-acre plot that we could afford, we would have to have 50% of our production come from that one vineyard. So for us, that's a deal breaker.
If you have a winery here, you're not going to be able to buy the fruit out there.
Huh.
Make the
If you had to guess, when is this getting harvested?
There's a couple more days away, I would say, but we are going to be picking tomorrow morning.
I'm not a morning person. How early?
5:30.
Okay, I want to be there so bad, but that's so early.
Well, if you do want to make it,
I will
be
be
out
there.
of Bent Rock.
I will be there.
All right.
He will not let me oversleep
I
that
will
one.
definitely be there, and I will drag this guy along.
Can't wait.
Okay, maybe I can. Do they do night picks?
If you want better wine, you should know a little about how it's grown and how it's sold. Did you know that wine varietals prefer different climates? While most places have one climate, in Santa Barbara County, for every mile you drive from the coast, the temperature rises by 1 degree. Talk about a 25-mile welcome mat for diversity. Did you know that artisanal producers sell the vast majority of their wine in their tasting room, online, or in their wine club? That's a tad bit different from big tank producers working with distributors to carry their wine as far as they can sell it. The reality is you won't find much wine like Dragonette in supermarkets or big box stores. There's just not enough to go around. Well, it's time for us to get a move on because we have one last visit today. Ricky is really excited to hang out with his old friend Pete Stoltman at their gorgeous estate out in Ballard Canyon.
Yeah, this is
We're right here.
I recognize this cluster. It's a little saggy.
It's very you.
It's a little baggy.
Can
So-
you guys trim Scott's nails?
I just did them. I just did them.
I love this breeze. This is pretty standard. I mean, Scott doesn't have hair, so he can't feel it, but
No, I can feel it better than you. Well, no, maybe. Maybe your 4 sprigs of hair can feel it more than mine.